Hey, it's Jessica. If you're new to me, I am a spiritual mentor and intuitive empath, and I wanted to share a bit with you today about having a spiritual practice. Something that I've kind of been mentioning more in some posts lately, and I just wanted to talk about what that is, and also we overthink it. Okay, a spiritual practice can be very simple. It's basically just something that you do and commit to help you on your spiritual path, which I really feel like the main thing with your spiritual path is just connecting to yourself, because the universe is within you. Okay, so your spiritual path is just you connecting to yourself and whatever it is you believe in. Maybe it's God, the universe, your guides, your angels, some kind of higher power. Maybe it is just yourself or your higher self, and that's totally fine too. Because when it comes down to it, your power is within you, okay? I always like to remind people, like, you have a direct connection to source. All of these teachers and books and guidance that you find and seek, and the spiritual tools that you use, they're just tools and guidance, and they are meant to help you, but please remember that you have a direct connection to source or God or whatever it is you want to call it. You can get your own answers and your own guidance. But when it comes to a spiritual practice, I feel like there's a lot out there like saying what you need to do or what you can do, whether it's guidance or suggestions, but like there's so many things that can be part of your spiritual practice. I would just urge you to just pick a few things, because if you try to do everything, you will get overwhelmed. You will end up with information overload, or it will start feeling like busy work. Your spiritual practice, it shouldn't feel like a chore. It shouldn't feel like a to-do list or busy work, okay? If that's how your spiritual practice feels, I would invite you to start over. Scratch all that and start over. Make a list. You can make a list of all the things that you think would be a good part of a spiritual practice. Maybe it's things you've done or you've heard other people do, but like just make a list, okay? Like some suggestions, maybe it's meditation, prayer, yoga. Maybe it's something you do first thing in the morning. Maybe it's a morning ritual that's part of your spiritual practice. Journaling, did I already say that? There's so many things. Yoga, maybe it's pulling yourself a card or working with crystals. Doing something with music or a sound bowl or an instrument of some kind. Maybe it's spending time in nature. Maybe it's listening to a spiritual teacher. Maybe it's studying. Maybe it's learning about something new or watching a documentary or going through a course that's teaching you something. Okay, that I could go on and on. There's so many different things. I think it's important to remember that you don't have to do everything. You try to do all of it, it's going to be too much. It won't be fun. You'll get overwhelmed, and then you just don't do anything at all, right? And then you feel bad because you're like, oh, I'm not working on my spiritual self. I'm not, I don't have a spiritual practice, or I'm not working on myself. I think self-care, any form of self-care, can be very connected to your spiritual practice. What you're putting into your body could be, okay? It doesn't have to be, but the food you're putting into your body, like a lot of people, their diet and nutrition and exercise is very connected to their spiritual path. It's part of it, but it doesn't have to be, okay? So think about these things and these suggestions. If you have more suggestions, I would love it if you put it in the comments to give other people other ideas. But what I would encourage you to do is, if you make a list, just look at it and pick a few things that feel good to you, that feel in alignment to you, that don't feel like a chore, okay? And pick just 2 or 3 things and make those your spiritual practice, okay? Or mix your spiritual practice up if you're bored with it, okay? Just for example, for me, I like to have a couple things I do daily I have a couple things I do weekly and some things that I only do maybe once or twice a month. Think about what your non-negotiables are, like what feels really good to you to do every day. For me, first thing in the morning when I wake up, before I do anything, I like to take a few deep breaths, long deep breaths, and just connect, just be with myself. And then I have a little prayer I like to say, so I say my prayer, and that's what I do before I even get out of bed in the morning. Okay. I also like to meditate once or twice a day. I feel that's really supportive for me. Okay. Other than that, I really don't have anything for my spiritual practice that I feel like I do every single day. Unless you want to count putting on essential oils. That's something I do every day that I feel like is emotionally supportive for me. But like crystals, I use crystals a few times a week. I pull myself an oracle card or tarot card maybe once or twice a week. I'm pulling cards for other people all the time, but when I just sit down and just pull a card for myself, it's maybe once or twice a week. It's not every day. It could be if that's what felt good to me. And there have been times in my past where it was a daily thing. But again, you do what feels good to you now. I like to do yoga, but it's maybe once or twice a month, okay? It's not a daily thing for me in my life right now. Could it be someday? Yeah, I think it probably will be. But I really have to just honor where I'm at, do what feels good to me now, and not beat myself up over not doing all the things. Because you can't do them all. You cannot do them all. I don't know. Maybe there's an exception. Maybe there's someone out there that does, okay? I like to say there's more than one way to do anything. There's an exception to every rule. But when it comes down to it, I feel like for most people, it's going to be best just to pick 2 or 3 daily things. And then you can always, add on something you do weekly or monthly, but just do it when it feels good to you. Another one, I like to journal, but I don't have any kind of schedule. I just journal if I feel led to do so. I found a long time ago that if I try to journal when I don't want to, it just feels like a chore. So when I get that feeling and that prompt, like, oh, it would be good to journal about this, or oh, it may be supportive for me to pull out my journal, then I do. I used to really be hard on myself about trying to journal more, and if I missed a day I would feel guilty, and it's just hey, that's not the point. That's not the point. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. I just encourage you to pick a few things and do what feels good to you, and it's enough. That is enough. Okay, you are enough.